Hi, and welcome back again to the UK studios for our latest updates on our progress over the last 4 weeks. Everyone is focused and busily working through all the tasks and bugs for Squadron 42 and of course the anticipated 3.0 update for Star Citizen, which we are very excited to get out to you all as soon as possible. So let's kick off with the gameplay feature sprints which we have been working on. The player interaction system has moved along quickly over the last few weeks. Further improvement of the personal inner thought system will allow you to select functionality which is not directly tied to a particular object. Examples of this would be selecting an emote or exiting your seat, although there will be of course still be quicker ways of doing this, through default actions for experienced players. Next up is the air traffic controller sprint, which deals with managing the flow of traffic to a location for both takeoffs and landing. In particular, it is responsible for assigning out and reserving a landing pad when a player wants to land, as well as freeing up that landing pad once they've landed and cleared the area. Similarly, it will deal with reserving a landing pad and spawning a ship when the player wants to take off. The initial stages of the implementation are now underway, and we're working on the underlying structure of how the system works. We've been finishing up functionality on the character status system, which includes bringing the procedural breathing and soup punctures to final implementation. Once this is done, we will focus on getting the system switched on by default in the game. We are also working on pick up and carry, which is a bit of a mashup between the player interaction system and our usable sprint. The usables were more concerned with getting the AI to interact with the objects in the environment, whereas the player interaction system is more for the player UI to interact with the environment. We're now bringing these two systems together to get the player to be able to pick up, carry, and then place objects in our universe. The conversation tech has now completed the initial development of the subsumption tool and to create the conversations with NPCs much more easily. It's been handed over to designers to prove it out by setting up all the different conversations. They'll provide feedback to code on any needed further improvements. The audio team has been working on procedural planet audio processors, including R&D and planning for systems to map and modify audio automatically. Also, work is continuing on the audio propagation system, the breathing system audio for the character status system, and also a dialogue tool that's been called Word Up. For weapon sound effects, the ship weapon toolkit is in progress, which includes reload sound effects for the Gallant, the weapon tail refactor, and multi-positional code support for weapons which will handle summing up the audio for many of the same weapons mounted to a single ship. For ships, the Prospector audio is done, with work on the Grey Cat and Cutlass Black, which is continuing. The music department continues to work on the dynamically looping cinematic ambient music system, clean up dogfighting music logic, the addition of tension system prototyping for the planet-side procedural music, and have also added more music to the launcher. Meanwhile, the graphics team have been working on many separate pieces of tech this month. The first is the integration of real-time lit volumetric fog from Lumberyard, which is going to be a huge boost for the lighting and environment art. The render to texture feature is progressing quickly, and the initial version is in the UI team's hands to upgrade our 2D UIs, and will also soon have the feature usable for 3D holographic projections to power our various holographic displays. The real-time environment probe tech is nearing completion and allows fully dynamic bounce light and reflections on a planet where traditional light baking techniques are not possible. The visual effects team have been working on several sprints. Atmospheric flight effects have completed the first sprint with a pass at planetary entry VFX. The effect is controlled by speed and atmospheric density values. With the core functionality in place for this, as well as engine trails, we're now merging these two sprints as we further implement design and art feedback while optimizing and bug fixing. We have also been working on lighting entity effect improvements. This is where we are attempting to create realistic lightning and other electrical type effects. In other areas, we've completed the first pass for the MISC Prospector, including thruster improvements and damage. For weapons, we have continued initial work on the APR Scourge railgun, including the charging and charged effects. Since finishing off the Banner Defender, the concept team has been busily developing the Origin 600i, which is now in its final stages. The weapons team have completed the Preacher Distortion Scattergun and the Apocalypse Arms Scattershot, and made good headway on the Klaus & Werner LMG. The UK ship team has been hard at work since bringing you the Javelin for ship shape. The Reclaimer has made a lot of progress since our last update. On the exterior, we've completed work on the hull, and the team was excited to see the huge claw come together. We have now moved into the damage phase of development, splitting the mesh up and getting it ready to use the damage tech. On the interior, we have fully fleshed out habitation and tech decks, as well as an enormous salvage processing room, and now the team is working on finishing the drone room, engineering deck and cockpit. Work has also begun on the derelict ships so that design can start laying the groundwork for mission-specific scenarios, encompassing ships and wreckage. An initial batch of ships that include the Connie, Caterpillar, Starfarer and the Freelancer are being broken down to their structural elements and made to look destroyed. Material work is being pushed alongside to give the ships a far more deteriorated and aged look. A wreckage component is also being worked on so that we have a library of nondescript ship parts that will be used to help embed and integrate derelict scenarios into the environments. The Razor artwork is now complete with the ship, and it's gone through a full damage pass. Some cool work has been done on breaking this one into pieces, and we're really excited to show you the results. Currently, LODs are being finalised on the hull, and Art are working closely with tech design to get this one flight ready. The hull C is also moving along nicely. The hull mesh is now largely complete, with manoeuvring thrusters being incorporated and polish work matching up the interior and exterior. A detail pass is also ongoing, adding all the finer details you've come to expect from our ships. The interior has gone through blockout phase and is now well into art production. By utilising assets from other MISC ships, we've been able to create spaces quickly and efficiently, with the intention to use these across the whole series. The environment team are continuing to explore ways to create volumetric forms in space with the graphics team. We've been baking out simulations and doing some initial renders. The surface outposts are finishing their interior visual benchmarks for engineering, habitation and hydroponics. These will then be distributed to the various outpost layouts and configurations. The team is continuing to set dress, light and polish these interior spaces to build character, while also exploring options for navigation and branding based on the lore and fiction. The truck stop space stations have moved into the final art phase, so the team is busy building out the shader library and working up some example pieces to final quality. As it's a modular system, we are also continuing to refine the building set to explore potential build configurations, which will make sure the set is as flexible as possible. The animation team has been working on the cover AI work, with the aim to improve all animation assets beyond functional. Breathing state improvements are now in line with back-end code improvements. This involves getting curve data out of Maya and into DataForge, which will allow for more refined procedural breathing curves. In other areas, the team started implementing multi-directional takedowns for killing enemies that are within close proximity to the player characters. Also, there have been further improvements to weapon setup and reloads across the board, including the Devastator shotgun, the Arrowhead sniper rifle, the Gallant laser rifle, and the P8SC ballistic SMG, as well as melee improvements for pistol and stock weapons. Finally, the Derby Foundry team has been busy with face and body animations for our 3.0 mission givers and has handed over 500 facial animation files that are now ready to be implemented into Squadron 42. The motion capture team has tracked and solved almost 1,000 new body animations for various characters within the Persistent universe. The team has also been working on new facial animations for shooting guns. Steve Bender, our animation director, has been a great source of inspiration, so expect to see new improved faces soon. Well, that's our update for this month. Once again, I hope you enjoyed seeing what we've been up to here in the UK, supported as always by all the other studios around the globe. Thanks again for all your support and encouragement and for joining us on our journey to make Star Citizen become this incredible reality. Everyone on the team really appreciates the trust our community places with us, allowing us to create this amazing universe. Without you all, Star Citizen would not be the reality it has become. Thank you, take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the verse.